Nitrous oxide emissions can be tricky to measure and explain, but we're going to try and do both. When it comes to nitrogen, the soils in the Northern Territory exist in a neutral state, with low nitrogen levels. Agricultural inputs can increase the nitrogen available to soils and change the dynamics of the soil nitrogen cycle. We have here a sorghum plant growing in the field. In the soil are bacteria or microbes. Some of these can change the soil nitrogen from one form to another, in the process making it more or less accessible to plants. When fertilizers containing nitrogen are added to the soil, the nitrogen component cycles through various processes. Some of that soil nitrogen will be taken up and used by the plant. This is the option we want occurring. Some of the nitrogen will be leached away down through the soil and become inaccessible. This is more common with rain and high temperatures. This nitrogen will not get used by the plant. Now remember the bacteria cycling the nitrogen through different forms? As part of this conversion, there is a byproduct called nitrous oxide. This nitrogen will be lost to the environment as nitrous oxide emissions. These emissions can be measured with special gas chambers. The chambers measure the nitrous oxide being released from the soil at different times. They can also be used to understand how much overall nitrogen is being lost through leaching as well. So why is this important? Understanding how nitrogen is used in the soil is important for a number of reasons. Firstly, fertilizer costs money. Nitrogen that is lost through emissions or leaching is essentially lost money. We need to improve agricultural practices to increase the amount of nitrogen that is used by the plant rather than lost to the environment. Secondly, we need to benchmark our agricultural practices to see how well different crops perform against one another. This will tell us where we need to improve. It will also show us how Australian agriculture compares to other countries in what's known as a global carbon economy. Increasingly, markets are looking for sustainable products, those with lower carbon footprints, greater fertilizer efficiency and less emissions. The very first step towards accessing these markets is to understand each commodity's emissions and then see how they can be improved. Finally, nitrous oxide emissions are much worse than carbon dioxide when it comes to global warming. By understanding how nitrogen is used in the soil and how we can improve our agricultural practices, we are reducing emissions and doing our bit to reduce climate change.